On December 21st, 2016, the Baltimore Sun published an article written by Kevin Rector. The article focused on the astounding number of murders in Baltimore City. In the article, Kevin Rector reports the following. As of Wednesday, the annual homicide rate stood at 50 killings per 100,000 residents, second only to the record high rate of 55.2 killings per 100,000 residents in 2015, when 344 people were killed. That means that 1 out of every 2,000 people in Baltimore has been killed in 2016, a staggering pace that puts Baltimore among the deadliest cities not only in the country, but in the world. Rector went on to quote Baltimore City Police spokesman T.J. Smith, who said the following. The people who are committing these violent acts aren't strangers to the police. We know that we're focused on the right people. It's a matter of getting them in custody and keeping them in custody. Keeping them in custody. The Baltimore City Police are telling you there is a problem with keeping gun offenders in custody. In October 2016, Justin Fenton wrote an article in the Baltimore Sun titled, Arrests in Baltimore for Illegal Guns Often Lead to Drop Charges or Little Jail Time. That's the title of the article. That article by Fenton went on to report about 1/4 of such gun cases are dropped before defendants ever go to trial. Defense attorneys are quoted as saying police work can be shoddy. They point to weak cases in which prosecutors are forced to step off by offering defendants deals to plead to lesser counts. In many of those cases, the defendants have been charged under a statute that would have required a mandatory 5 years in prison without parole. Baltimore defense attorney Stephen Beatty is also quoted in an article saying, there are serious questions about the way this search was conducted, or the strength of the evidence overall. Officers sometimes skirt constitutional and other guidelines in an effort to simply take guns off the street. They're not getting the people a lot of the time because of the way they seized the guns, he said. They are encouraged to go on their hunches and do things they really shouldn't be doing. And this year, in 2017, Maryland Senator William Smith from Montgomery County has proposed legislation that will require all secondary transfers of long guns to submit to a background check. And this bill is once again being described as common sense legislation. All secondary transfers of long guns. What does that mean? Well, to people pushing gun control, they'll tell you this is universal background checks. They will tell you that everyone buying a gun should be required to take 90 seconds to have a background check. This does sound rather simple, but that's not the overall effect of this bill. First of all, my old hunting buddy that I've known for 20 years, this means I can't loan him my 20 gauge shotgun for his handicapped son to use when they're on a hunt together. Well, I can, but we'll need to go meet at a gun dealer, one that's willing to voluntarily take my gun into his inventory, put it on his books, record all our information, do the background investigation, charge us any fee that he sees fit, and then transfer the gun to my friend so he can borrow it. Wait, then after the hunt, we have to go through the same process again to transfer it back to me. Do you think our self-described progressive senator truly understands the issue of gun crime in Maryland? Has Senator Smith sought to identify the true causes of gun violence? The Maryland Uniform Crime Report shows that 5 people were killed with a shotgun in 2015 across the entire state of Maryland. Although we don't take any death lightly, this statistic is incredibly low, especially when we compare it to the overall homicide rate in Maryland. And this statistic pales in comparison to the 73 murders committed with knives. That's right, knives. We don't see any knife legislation, do we? These so-called common sense gun bills can actually have the opposite effect. This bill is so poorly written, in fact, that if passed, it would be impossible to identify and prosecute the violators. The only way to make it possible for offenders to be prosecuted is to treat every long gun sale and transfer the same way we do handguns in Maryland. And that would place an incredible burden on the Department of State Police. The department that I once ran, the licensing division with the state police, would be crushed with manpower. It would destroy the ability of the department to go out and fight real crime. Since 2013, Maryland has spent close to $12 million on new gun legislation requirements. And yet, Baltimore City has set an all-time record for killing last year in 2016. Truth is, we can't afford any more legislation that only diverts the manpower of law enforcement. I'm tired of uninformed lawmakers submitting legislation only so they can appear in some headline of a newspaper while wearing a button on their coat that says I'm against gun violence. Look, I'm against gun violence too. But these bills aren't about saving lives. They're simply smoke and mirrors that make you feel good. They use buzzwords like common sense to make it sound legitimate. These bills are actually a waste of taxpayer dollars, and it places an unnecessary burden on our law-abiding citizens. So if secondary sales and transfers of long guns don't appear to be a problem, why are we developing such a costly solution? Learn more about this problem, get involved, and maybe, just maybe, we can actually work to save lives instead of pretending to be compassionate. Because when it comes to reducing gun crime in Maryland, we're out of focus.